Hi everyone. Today we're going to look at smiley face tricks and we're going to look at the hyphenated modifier. Now we're going to take some notes on the hyphenated modifier, so let's make sure we get our spiral ready or our computer so we can take notes. So let's get started. Here are what smiley face tricks are. Smiley face tricks are those tricks or writer's crafts that writers are using in their writing in order to help the reader. And smiley face tricks do a lot for a reader. And one of the most important things that we've talked about is show, don't tell. And smiley face tricks help us show the reader how we're feeling and what we're thinking and what we're seeing, rather than just coming right out and telling the reader. Remember, we need to make the reader work for it. We don't always want to tell the reader everything. We want them to have to figure some things out on their own. And remember, smiley face tricks also enhance our writing. They interest our reader. They make the reader like what we're writing and what they're reading, and they want to continue more and read more and connect to it. So smiley face tricks are a great tool that writers are using. Now there are a reminder that there are 8 smiley face tricks. We're only going to talk about hyphenated modifiers today. We'll look at all those others on another day. So let's get started with their notes. In our spiral or on our computer, let's go ahead and jot down this definition. And what this is just saying is that there's going to be a phrase of words that we're going to connect with hyphens. And this phrase of words is like a complete thought, and it will describe a noun. So it's like an adjective. It acts as an adjective describing a noun. And what this does is it causes the reader to see things in a different way. It helps show the noun rather than just tell about the noun. And this will become clearer as we go. Let's do a real quick review as to what nouns and adjectives are. Remember, those nouns are a person, place, thing, or idea. And adjectives are any words that we place around that noun that describes it or modifies it. And that's kind of where the name comes from, hyphenated modifier, because modify means describe, and these hyphenated modifiers describe nouns. Here's some examples of just our regular old normal sentence with adjectives and nouns in it. Before her long day at school started, she had to go to the scary dentist. So what kind of day did she have? We know that day is a noun, and she had a long one. We know dentist is a noun. What kind of dentist was it? Scary. So this is an example of just having regular nouns and adjectives. Another example is my sweet mother made me soft, gooey, delicious cookies before I headed to bed. What kind of mother did she have? Sweet. What kind of cookies did she bake me? Soft, gooey, and delicious. So as you see, these are adjectives, and we can have more than one adjective describing a noun. As we see here, we have 3 adjectives describing this one noun, and that's fine. Sometimes we think we're being more descriptive by just adding a lot of adjectives before a noun, and sometimes that's not always right. We might want to use a hyphenated modifier instead. So let's check out how those actually work. So for example, I give my student this sentence. The friendly dog licked my hand and wagged his tail. So dog is a noun we want to work with, and this is just an ordinary sentence that we think is pretty good. But we just have that one adjective, friendly. So rather than announcing the dog as friendly, let's go ahead and put in a hyphenated modifier there and let the reader decide that the dog is friendly through what the hyphenated modifier does to describe it. So let's take a look. The be my friend and I will love you for life dog licked my hand and wagged his tail. So what a hyphenated modifier is remember, this is an adjective kind of describing, it is describing that noun, dog. And the hyphenated modifier is an adjective that's almost a complete thought. It's like it's a sentence or a phrase. And it's a thought. It's not just a bunch of one-word adjectives put together. If you notice here that we have a hyphen in between each of the words that are in the hyphenated modifier, but we don't have a hyphen right before the noun after the last word of the hyphenated modifier. Let's look at another example. The woman gave me an evil look. And we're making that announcement again. What kind of look is it? It's evil. So instead, make your reader work for it. Use a hyphenated modifier and make your reader decide, oh my gosh, that woman's evil. Here's an example of what we did. The woman gave me a come here so I can throw you in my oven and eat you look. Boy, after that, now I get to say, oh, she must be evil. You don't have to announce she's evil. Announcements are never good. So look, our noun has this great hyphenated modifier. And every word is separated by a hyphen except for right before the noun. There's no hyphen right there. One last one just to kind of look at is the next time I see that long, scary roller coaster will be in my rear view mirror. Again, we're announcing that that roller coaster is scary, and we don't want to do that. We want the audience to figure out that that roller coaster is scary. So we're going to say instead, The next time I see the hope I get off this before I puke roller coaster will be in my rear view mirror. So it's just better writing because we can picture it and imagine it, and your reader doesn't have to have you announce everything to you. You're showing them and not telling them. So let's take a look at some that my students have written in the past. These are great examples. Again, look is our noun, and then they've added a why would you want to go with him look. So this is our hyphenated modifier. I like this one, but I knew this day would turn into the normal, boring, I wish I was with my friends instead of with these old people Thanksgiving. You notice that she added a couple of just regular adjectives that she is separated by commas, and then she has her hyphenated modifier. These normal and boring are not included in that hyphenated modifier because they're just kind of regular adjectives, one-word adjectives. And then the last one, this is going on my permanent record, trouble. And look, we don't have that hyphen between trouble and record. It's blank, but we do have hyphens between every other word in that hyphenated modifier. All right, let's take a look at some in literature. That first one is that famous one that we know from Holes. And then we have another one from the great book, Bud Not Buddy. And he used quite a few hyphenated modifiers in that particular book. So if you look at the next one, it's another one from his book. And he does a lot for emphasis. The last one that I included is from a book called Mosaic of Thought, and that's a teacher book. That's a book that as teachers we read to become better teachers. And the reason that I included that is because I wanted to show you that we can have this smiley face trick in any kind of writing. It doesn't have to just be in narrative. It can be in our expository writing. It can be in our argumentative essays. It can be in our informational writing. Any kind of writing we want, we can actually include a hyphenated modifier in it in order to make it sound better. Here's a couple more from literature just to give you some other examples from books. I like this first one because what she did was she gave two hyphenated modifiers in one sentence, and it kind of gives a little extra punch. I liked him, liked him a lot. Not just a fun to finally have someone to flirt with way, but in a I want to hold his hand and kiss him way. I like that one, as you notice, with those two hyphenated modifiers in one sentence. The next couple examples are great. Again, I included that first one because I was reading an article online and I saw this hyphenated modifier, and again, I just wanted to show you that this was out of an article. It wasn't out of literature, and you can have it again in any type of writing. The next one is a great example from If I Stay. What I like about this one is that we have hyphenated modifiers mixed in with repetition for effect, which I think is awesome. And so if you read it, it's like falling nightmares, playing a cello recital without knowing the music nightmares, breaking up with Adam nightmares. And so you have two hyphenated modifiers mixed in with repetition for effect, where she's repeating the type of nightmares that she's having in the story. So that's really neat to see hyphenated modifiers used that way. Here's some reminders for you about hyphenated modifiers for you to put in your notes. Reminder to you that there should be a hyphen between each word in the hyphenated modifier, but not a hyphen right before the noun that it's describing. So keep the hyphenated modifier with hyphens, but not before the noun. The next thing to remember is that it should be a phrase or a sentence, almost like a complete thought. It's an adjective, but it's a complete thought. It's not a bunch of one-word adjectives like normal, boring, long day. Those would all just require commas between them. Instead, we want to have a complete thought. And then the last thing we want to remember is that a hyphenated modifier should always come before the noun it's describing. It should never end a sentence. If you ever have a hyphenated modifier and then you put a period right after it, in your head you should be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I did it wrong. I need to rewrite this sentence, because a hyphenated modifier should never end the sentence. The noun ends the sentence possibly. Remember, it can come anywhere you want in the sentence, but the hyphenated modifier would never end the sentence. The noun would have to do that. All right, it's your turn to try. So let's put away our spirals, let's put away our computers, and let's grab our writer's notebook. And in your writer's notebook, I want you to practice some of these hyphenated modifier scenarios. And just say to yourself, what do I want to describe? What noun do I want to describe? Do I want to describe the haunted house? Do I want to describe me? Do I want to describe a feeling that I'm having? Do I want to describe the test? Do I want to describe the present? And then say, how do I want to do that with a hyphenated modifier? So write a couple of sentences using different hyphenated modifiers for a couple of these different scenarios. And then in class, we'll take a look at them and see how we're doing. So make sure you come to class ready with those hyphenated modifiers. Enjoy.